Good evening, Zimbabwe. You are listening to Studio 7 from the Voice of America on Friday, September 21st, 2018. And this is Live Talk. I am Kip Stube.
And I'm Blessing Zulu.
Tonight on Live Talk, we are talking about clashes between the police and vendors.
To join our discussion as usual, phone us directly at 001-202-619-2077 and we'll call you right back.
Live Talk goes out to Zimbabwe on our 909 meter wave frequency and on the 4930-6080 and 15460 kilohertz shortwave, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m.
And on the internet, you can find us at www.voazimbabwe.com, www.voashona.com, and www.voandebele.com.
If you have just joined us tonight on Studio 7 Live Talk, we are discussing clashes between the police and vendors in some parts of Zimbabwe.
There was chaos and pandemonium in Harare yesterday and today when angry vendors hit back after they were cornered by the police following government orders for them to leave the streets in an attempt to contain the cholera epidemic that has already claimed 32 lives.
Police today arrested Promise Mkwanazi of Tachamuga Sesjigile campaign after he addressed a meeting in which he condemned police for allegedly brutalizing vendors who rely on selling various goods to make a living.
Millions of Zimbabweans are engaged in street vending as Zimbabwe's economy has declined over the years, forcing people to make a living on the streets. Many companies have shut down due to lack of capital and related issues. Some
observers have criticized President Emerson Mnangagwa's government for driving the vendors off the streets, saying the state should fix the economy in order to create jobs. Will the government succeed in pushing the vendors out of the streets? And what is going to happen to the vendors in the near future?
Please note that we are live streaming this show right now on our Facebook pages, VOA Studio 7, VOA Shona, and VOA Ndebele.
Yebo kambe Zulu kandaba ngalithola njani lapha likhona endaweni ezitshiyeneyo zomhlaba thina lapha ke lo Blessing siyaphila sibilo kuzwayo. Yeah, Blessing kunjani mfowethu?
Ini ndiri nani Gibbs nasi tira kuti tinge tichi ze nyaya yekunetsana kwemapurisa nevanotengesa mumigwagwa. Pane mapurisa ekanzuru kotiwo mapurisa ezeta rapi handitika vari kunetsana nevanotengesa mugwagwa hanzi vari kuita wakiti nagonzo. Dzimwe nguva pomboita bata murefu bata mupfupi pachikandiranwa matombo vemugwagwa vachiti aiwa hatisi kubva, asi mapurisa achiti bvai nekuti pari kutyirwa kuti chirwere chekolera icho chauraya vanhu 32 chinogona kuramba chichipararira. Gibbs,
I don't know whether we've got videos on some of the vendors, talking about what is going on. Let's check whether we've got one of the videos. I guess maybe our producer
is still trying to line that up.
Yes.
Hapana kana problem pakutengesa kwatinoita mvura ndiyo inofanirwa kugadzirwa kumastreet kuti mvura igadzirwe masystem ava vakaita madoko aenderana navanhu panguva idzodzo aenderana nemvura asekuru
inini haisi kuti hapana zvaunodetsera baba kuti wana vanocreata mabasa toenda kumabasa 2 vagadzire mvura madhenda atotengesa hatu vanhu kolera but nyika sanitation dzaingogadziriswa nekanzuro nehurumende.
There you are, Blessing.
Yeah, some of the vendors are protesting being pushed out of the streets by the government. And you had the lady saying that this cholera epidemic has nothing to do with the vendors, but the government and also by extension, the councils are not providing people with clean water. They are not also fixing the sewage pipes that many are saying are leaking, and they've been leaking for years. And, that water is now flowing into their feeder dams. And as a result, there's this outbreak.
Bakhuluma abantu sibili ukuthi hayi phela ongani kuyahlupha ukuthi uhulumende kabaningi phela amanzi angani ahlanzekile kanye lo council la kanzi njalo. So bafuna ukuthi amakansila abone ukuthi konke lokhu kuyenziwa. So ke sibona ngazani silenye njalo ivideo yababa osemaswingo okhuluma sibili ukuthi abasuki emgwaqweni asimlalele Blessing to 10.
isu samavhenda anotengesa migwagwa mumasoro somutungamiri wavo ndotoziva kuti kune dambudziko isu hatina dambudziko kana hatitengesi mvura hatina zvimwe zvinhu zvinodyiwa hatinotengesa pano zvinodyiwa zvingakuwadza vana asi kune dambudziko tokuziva kukanzuro ngazigadzise nyaya yamvura kanzuro ngaigadzise nyaya yesuwa system iringobased at any time anyway saka kanzuro ngaite put its house in order kuti zvave zvinake isu hatina dambudziko zvatoisa mavhenda isu toita vanhu vari pasi vari kutijairira havo asi isu hatina kana dambudziko asi isu zuva richasvika ro tichagona kuvukawo zvavanhu varingoteverekwa nematambudziko iwava isu hatina kana dambudziko toda kuraramisa vana vedu izvi zvototikudisa nzara kuvana kuti mhuri dzedu dziparare saka isu hatingagoni kuparara takanyarara.
Of course, more voices from the vendors are saying that some of them are alleging that they are not even selling any food items, and as a result, if you are selling your clothes, they are arguing that there is no need for you to be removed from the streets. They are saying, maybe those who are selling food.
That's right, because cholera is waterborne anyway.
Indeed.
Yes. And there's a statement from the MTC led by Mr. Nelson Chamisa. It reads in part, let me just quote it. The Zanu-PF government's obsession and decision to evict vendors from the city centre is barbaric, contemptuous and disrespectful. It is not the solution to the problems bedeviling the city and the nation at large. Government is simply using cholera as an excuse to victimize people in an attempt to achieve ill-conceived goals. The MDC is against the idea of blaming the victims for every calamity that befalls the motherland. To make matters worse, the apparatus deployed to enforce the Zanu-PF decision are confiscating clothes and electronic gadgets from vendors, merchandise that cannot in any scientific way transmit cholera. These are clear acts of theft, end quote. So uyakubakhuluma lapha ke blessing abantu be-MDC ukuthi no lokho kwenziwa nguhulumende ikudelela ikwenza into engazani ngala ngqondo njalo ayisikho kuza kwenza ilizwe leZimbabwe liqonde. So bathi khona okumangalisayo ukuthi abanye abantu bathathelwa impahla ezinjengamafoni lento ezinjalo lezigqoko khonokho ke bathi scientifically kungeke kwayenza khonokho kade kutsho ukuthi kungeke kwenza ukuthi igcikwane le cholera limemetheke. So bathi lobo ibusela.
Wokuka hama wadiwa kunavo vachangotibata nhasi toda kuti tinge tichitaura nemamiriro akaita zvinhu mumaguta akasiyana-siyana umo vanotengesa migwagwa vari kunetsana kana dzimwe nguva kurwisana nemapurisa vachinzi vabude mugwagwa kuti chirwere chekolera chisarambe chichipararira. Makasununguka kuti munge muchititumira mamessages pangave pawhatsapp kana kuti pafacebook page yedu ingave yeshona kana kuti yendebele. Makasununguka kuti mutinyorere kuti muri kuda kuti kupinda muchirongwa kana madaro tozokufonerai kuti tikurukure kuti chii chaizvo chakonzera kuti musoro uteme. Vamwe vari kuti ndivo vanotengesa migwagwa, vamwe vachiti aiwa makanzuro haasi kupa vanhu mvura yakachena, uyewo vamwe vemakanzurowo vachiti hurumende ndo isiri kuvapawo dzimwe mari dzemitero dzavanofanira kunge vachipiwa nekuvakawo madhamu. Hurumende ndo iri kunzi inofanira kuita izvi nekuti ukaenda kuHarare kwakaita sana lectuero dhamu racho razara tsvina nekuti mvura yese netsvina inokukurwa ichienda kulectuero rinenge richinzi nemainjiniya dhamu iri rakavakirwa pasipo. Nekudaro padawo pavakwe rimwe dhamu rinonzi kunzvi mvura yobva ikoko ndokuri kunzi pada zvingapedza iro dambudziko rekolera. Gibbs.
Yes, bona ke kulabantu abangenayo khonapha ke bephosela abakuphosela bekhuluma ngodaba lama-vendors. So silomunye ke ubaba lapho kuthiwa nguJason. uJason uthi lokho kwenziwa ngamapolisa akulunganga, ayisiwo phela ama-vendors lawa ayenza ukuthi kube lecholera. Kube sokusiba ke lo mama lapha ke uthi nguJennifer. uJennifer uthi hey lokho kuyahlupha bafowethu asikwazi ukuthi kuvela ngaphi. Then kuzobuya ke uDube Bongani uthi hello Gibson Blessing, siyabonga kakhulu mfowethu. Ubusani moya uthi they should move away from the front of people's stores. Kumele basuka ama-vendor bengahlali phambili kwezitolo zabantu. Uthi ke iMDC yena le echothoza khonokho ekwenziwayo nguhulumende iyafana lebandla leZanu-PF. Ubusani uyagcizelela khonapho. uVictor Nkomo uthi hey bantu asifuni bumbulu la asesidinwe ngalokho. Umsunduza Ndlovu la uyasibingelela lapha yabe sesithi ke lifone phela Dube lingakhohlwa. kambo ngavulobani khonapho ke blessing vatumeza ama-messages
hongo tiri kukurudzira vanhu kuti rambai muchitumira mamessages enyu kuti mukwanise kunge muchipinda muchirongwa. Tiri kuedzawo kubata vatungamiri vemasangano evanotengesa mugwagwa kana kuti mavhenda nevamwewo vari mune nyaya dzezvematongerwo enyika, asi nhare dzinenge dziri kuti netsei, asi tiri kuramba tichiedza kuti tivabate. Gibbs, I understand we have Mr. Michael Ndiweni, Bulawayo Vendors and Traders Association. Mr. Ndiweni, good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm doing great, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks to you too for putting in the program.
Thank you so much. Gibbs, you can fire away.
So, Mr. Ndweni, you are being asked to leave the streets, and we saw in Harare yesterday and today some running battles between the police and, the vendors. So what is going on, really?
I think based on our conduct in Harare, the police are pushing vendors out of the streets, and they're saying they must leave the streets. But to go away, they're not saying. They're just chasing vendors, harassing them, beating up people, and we are not happy about that.
Bulawayo kume njani khonapho?
Bulawayo is very calm as we speak. We are constantly in touch with Bulawayo City Council. Bayakhuluma lathi kula muntu ogijinyiswayo. We are talking, I think, like very mature and wise citizen. Akula muntu ogijinyiswayo as we speak. Of course, the Bulawayo City Council was doing an operation 3 days ago and trying to say abantu bathenga ukudla bengathengi ukudla because of the outbreak of cholera, but akukho as what we saw in Harare. Yes.
I think one of the problems in Harare is that the authorities are claiming that there are no toilet facilities, and as a result, cholera might actually spread. How is the situation like in Bulawayo in terms of those toilets and where the vendors sell their wares?
I think we must debunk the notion that vendors are causing cholera. I think that's a lie, to be honest. I think it is common knowledge that the cause of cholera is as a result of underground contamination of water in boreholes and also the sewer system. So to blame vendors for actually things that happen underground, I think it's just being disingenuous. It's not true. It's not dishonest at this highest level. Local government and also the government has failed to provide clean water to citizens. So they cannot shift blame and blame vendors what they failed to do. It is not true that vendors are causing cholera. It is because the government has failed to provide clean water, including, working with the local government, and they actually provide a proper sewer reticulation system that will take human waste to its designated, disposal site. So as a result, therefore, there's underground contamination. So to then accuse vendors of that is just being disingenuous, to be honest, Gibbs and your colleague.
Thank you so much. Gibbs, I think we are now being joined by Mr. Sten Zorwadza of Navuz. Mr. Zorwadza, good evening.
Good evening, listeners.
Thank you so much. Gibbs.
Mr. Zorwadza, what is going on in Harare? We are told that even Mr. Promise Mkwaranz has been arrested, and I don't know what is happening to you too. So what's going on there?
All right. We have a challenge here in Harare in terms of a disease that has befallen the country of Zimbabwe, which is cholera. The disease that we must combat as citizens of Zimbabwe. Citizens of the country should partner the government of Zimbabwe to combat the disease, and the government should partner citizens to combat the disease. I've also heard that Promise Mkwaranz was arrested, but I have no detail as to why he was arrested and the charge leveled against him. So I cannot give any comment as to the reason why. But in the broader thinking in terms of where we are as a country, informal economy workers and vendors, they should leave the streets on being given on an alternative of survival. Because vendors are on the streets not because they want to be on the streets or by choice. They have no choice to be there, and an alternative has to be provided for them to leave the streets. And NAVU's National Vendors Union has already provided an alternative or a grand strategy that will see all vendors leaving the streets, but at the same time benefiting of the strategy that we have created. We've come up with a concept that we have put across to government that we need to access fractions of contracts across all companies in terms of us ensuring that we benefit from the mainstream economy contracts. And these contracts will then create profits that people will share. Literally what we are saying, we want to create our own social fund that will ensure that all vendors take portion of it, and we know this will happen and this will succeed. And in 100 days, we can assure Zimbabwe that most cities will be decongested. And the only concept to apply is to agree that we need to share portions of the contract in the mainstream economy, and not only to allow big companies to have 2 billion worth of contracts. When they get a 900 million, they splash in vehicles, they splash in expensive shoes. If we get 900 million as vendors, we will be able to share among ourselves $150, $200, $300. We will be all right. So we want the country, we want corporates, we want the local authorities to appreciate that the strategy that we came up with will be the solution to decongestion. And already, as an example, in Harare, city of Harare spends about $3 million every month in buying water treatment chemicals. And we are saying bring 1 million on our desk for the informal economy for us to supply you a city of Harare. We get a profit of 200,000, we will share that money, and the people that will share the money will be decongested because it will be permanent income, it will be permanent revenue. How do we support these processes of contracts? We already have a bank salivating to help informal economy workers, the bank called NBS, which is wholly owned by NASA. In actual fact, Zimbabweans will be supporting informal economy to decongest. This is the strategy. This is the thinking. Let's move forward. Cholera is coming. Cholera is going. Cholera has befallen us. Cholera is on its way out. But where do we move as a country forward? We should not chase vendors from the streets by force. We should not use confrontation. We should apply these strategies to ensure that vendors are protected. Vendors have a survival beyond moving off the streets.
Thank you very much, and stay on the line. Blessing.
Do we have another?
I think we've got Mr. Joseph Chuma, a former member of parliament for Pelanda Popoma. He was representing Zanu-PF. Mr. Chuma, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you very much for having me. Good evening, Zimbabwe.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Chuma, what is your take on this confrontation that we are seeing, especially in Harare, between vendors and the police?
Well, for starters, we need to understand that confrontation at whatever level is a no-no. We should never see ourselves getting to a point of doing a hide and seek and run and chase kind of a scenario that we have in Harare between the vendors and the police. It should never get to that, really. I believe vendors have an association, and that association should have been in the forefront to responsibly talk to its members and conscientize them on the period that we are in at the moment. We have got an outbreak of cholera, and it has not come as child's play. It has already claimed over 30 lives, and just one life is too much to actually lose. And now we're talking of over 30 lives. So I thought by now this association and its leaders should have been in the forefront to call for their members to move out for the time being while we try and attack this disease collectively as a nation, and while they can proffer other solutions of of a way forward in future, that is good. But for now, really, a responsible Zimbabwean citizen should be saying, no, let us avoid anything that can help to be a catalyst to the spread of this deadly disease that has already claimed people already. So that's the mindset that I would have loved to see and I would have wished to actually feel happening within the vendors and the rest of the community. It should be as simple as all that. So I don't really understand how we've come to a point where I was looking at one of the videos. It was so nasty. They are throwing stones at each other. Come on, we're human beings. What are we doing?
Thank you so much. Gibbs,
Yes.
let's bring Mr. Ndweni.
Yes, Mr. Ndweni siyazwa lapha sibili ubaba uStandi Zoras uyakhuluma ukuthi kumele lithole phela ama-contracts athize la. Ama-contracts ukuthi yagcina imali ligamlelana. Kambe kuyenzakala khona ukuthi ama-vendors angagcina kwenza?
I think it's good to dream. I think Uzorata is dreaming, and it's good to dream to have those initiatives. And I think the reality is that the problem of congestion in Harare is a result of poor urban planning and city designing. I think it is a failure from local government to actually think about the growth of the population. So as a result, then you see people, everyone moving to Harare to try and make a living. In my view, if city planning was done in the proper way, we'll be seeing decongestion in Harare, in people in Roa, in Zimre Park, in Noton, having an industry that does not make them move to Harare. So, in my view, I think what we're seeing in Harare is a result of failure to plan for the cities. But nonetheless, we have a challenge now of cholera. And in my view, is that it is a duty of every Zimbabwean, whether you are a vendor, whether you are a formerly employed person, whether you are a government official, to contribute in one or the other in trying to combat cholera. It is very wrong to then accuse vendors, like I said earlier on, to say they are the causal factor of cholera. In my view, I think we need to take precautions now. I think I'll try to digress a bit. Some of us in Zimbabwe throw condoms just to be very, unrespectful, if I may put it that way. Throw condoms, strong water drains, chambers, as an example. Then I'm a toilet sensor blocker, then switch it to water. And then what happens is that then each sewer will flow the township as a result of me and you doing that. So to then blame vendors where the causal effect of cholera, I think is very unfair and wrong. I think that now is the right time which song is start a responsibility, whether you are a vendor, whether you are formerly employed, whether you are a community government driver, because now what you get later whether we company that actually produce something. Our firms that actually discharge waste, water points. There was our companies discharge solid and liquid waste from water points and contaminating land. We know all that, but you cannot then say you are blaming our vendors. My problem, Gibbs, is that it appears that everyone wants to blame vendors. I think it's very wrong and unfair. And I think for me it's a wide view of actually dealing with the problem in Zimbabwe. I think all of us in one or the other is guilty. And like I said earlier on, the government has to take full responsibility of what has happened now. Because if they've done proper planning, we're not having this problem. And if the economy was functional, I don't think we're having this problem.
Yes,
it's a medical problem that should not be happening in Zimbabwe today, and it's wrong to blame vendors only. So everyone is to blame for what has happened in Zimbabwe collectively.
Thank you. Baba. Thank you.
Rekatende kumtereri mkomana amugoronga makadi.
Tinofara makadiwo vakuru vangu.
Aiwa isu tiripo tipewo pfungwa dzenyu.
Inini pfungwa dzangu ini dzinoti tore nguva asi regai nditaure muchidimbu. Ndafara zvikuru nomukana wandapiwa nekuti kubva musi wandakabirwawo vhoti yangu ndasandambotaura. Saka regai nditaurewo zviri maringe nekolera yadai kunetsa iyi. kuti hurumende yedu ini ndinoona senge isingakoshesi upenyu hwevanhu. Kana tikatarisa utano, zvakata guta reHarare iguta rakakura rinoti rinenge rine vashandi vanenge vachishanda mariri, asi hurumende inodzoka ichimbunyikidza vashandi ivavo iine urongwa hwokuti igodhikambena, nokuti inenge ichiziva kuti makanzura mazhinji ari mukati meguta reHarare anenge achibva kuma-opposition parties. Saka dai hurumende yaita basa rayo rokuti inenge ichisapotawo makanzura kuti zvinhu zvinge zvichifamba zvakanaka. Zvino apa ivo vatinoona vacho vachirambira kuti makanzura ndo akundikana basa, but ivo vagari vaimomozve. Saka hazvina zvazvinobatsira. Taingokumbira kuti dei vanga vapa varidzi vebasa mukana, ivo kana vachikwanisa kunge vachisupervisa zvinhu zvichifamba zvakanaka. Nokuti mabhili akatora mwedzi asi kutakurwa, pombi dzichidhuvuka. Handifungi kuti guta reHarare guta rinonyanya kuzikamwa zvikuru, rinomukurumbira mukati menyika yedu. Asiko zvinorareruswa kunzi kolera inotanga nomuHarare. Saka zvinhu izvozvo zvinotidzikisira. Nyika, hurumende yedu haikoshesi utano hwevanhu. Saka ngaiite basa rayo zvigare semazuva ese. Nonga ndo maonero angu iyi.
Aiwa, tinotenda zvikuru mukomanhamo Goronga.
Maita basa.
Just in brief, what Namo is saying is that he thinks or he's alleging that there is too much local government interference in the affairs of the Harare municipality, and as a result, nothing is being done, and this is why there are all these outbreaks of typhoid and cholera.
Now, back to you, Mr. Stan Zoratsa. Are you still on the line?
Please, I am.
Now, looking at what the MDC is saying here by the way the police is conducting, this kind of business of raiding vendors, it is saying that some people are actually selling clothes. Some people are actually selling phones and not food. And so why raid vendors? What could be your reaction to that?
Right. We gave a joint statement, National Vendors Union and City of Harare. We agreed on the roadmap of decongestion towards the issue of combating cholera. We agreed that the main risk in terms of the transmission of the disease or the catalytic products would be edible products, fruits, vegetables, tomatoes, and you name it. Those that are in the line of edibles, the foods that would affect people if they were to eat without hands washed or other products similar to that. When we discussed, we also agreed that those were the things that were supposed to have been targeted. And soon after targeting that, it was not supposed to be targeted as in confiscation. We agreed that the people would be told on the risks and be educated that the products are risky to continue selling under the circumstances of the disease called cholera. When we said that, National Vendors Union went around the streets persuading our members that we should slow down and ensure that we avoid selling foodstuffs for at least for the period when the disease is being handled and combated. So beyond that, I was also surprised, to be honest, to realize that they were now picking on other foods like clothes, shoes, cell phones, and things like that. But in the argument, as I went further to investigate why they were picking those things, they proffered arguments that these people are staying in large groups, and there is direct risk as they exchange the products of contamination. And this was the argument that because these people sell in large groups and in very less aerated conditions, it would be risky to leave them in such large groups. And because we are in the spirit of combating the disease, and together as Zimbabweans, we should partner our government, and the government should partner citizens. I thought, look, let me put that aside, because to say the truth, this disease is going one way or the other. I can see contributions from players like Econet, who contributed 10 million, other partners who are progressive, who see this as a threat, and they continue to pump in money to ensure that the disease is combated. Every day we are moving on the streets encouraging our members to stop selling on the streets for the time being, and we will have to revisit our process of how they will survive. If you see in the streets of Harare today and yesterday, there are not so many people applying the streets. Most of our members have received the message, and they've abided to the rules that cholera has to be combated. A few who are attending, and it's unfortunate that there is serious political expedience in this context. People want to politicize the disease, and they want to now bring people to refuse to accept that we have to handle the disease together. Kunyangwe ari mavenda, kunyangwe ari in a formal economy, we are in this disease together. We should combat the disease. We should fight it together, not to politicize. I hate political...
But Mr. Zorwadza, in as much as you might say people cannot politicize it, some might actually argue that cholera is very much a political problem, because the resources are not being utilized, be it by the government, be it by the council, and as a result, you have this outbreak, because it happens in the poorest of nations like Haiti, for example, not a country like Zimbabwe with all those resources.
Look, I will agree with you, and I will agree with many Zimbabweans that our biggest tragedy is to perpetuate and leave corruption, breeding corruption. We now have a trajectory of resolving certain issues that were not resolved in the previous administration. In this context, we are saying we are having another level of Zimbabwe with the administration that should be listening to the people of Zimbabwe and then bringing on board our strategies. The strategy that I was telling you of applying contracts to deal with decongestion, I wrote this to Ignatius Chombo years back. He ignored it. I wrote it to Sakasukwere. He ignored it. This time round, I have written to Julai Moyo, who is honorable minister for our local government. He has accepted to dialogue with the National Vendors Union to see how we can resolve this. This is the trajectory that we hope every person should be forward-moving. If this government fails to partner the citizens of Zimbabwe, then we have a challenge. But if the government partners the citizens of Zimbabwe, we have no challenge.
Thank you, Mr. Zorwadza.
The disease and then address our problems of vending. But
thank you, Mr. Zorwadza.
Vendors should not be removed from the streets by confrontation.
We'll come back to you.
An amicable way out.
Thank you. We'll come back to you, Gibbs.
Sibuyele ke kuba buchuma. Baba Chuma, nxa ukuthi abantu beqothwa ke emgwaqweni, lithi baye ngaphi njengoba ke siyakhumbula kwathi kwenziwa ukhetho ngo-2013 kwaba nje lensukwana ezithize ama-vendors akhitshwa futhi emgwaqweni. Khathesi sokungene umongameli Emerson Mnangagwa, sokusenziwa khonokho kwenzakala kudala. Kambe lithi baye ngaphi abantu laba Chuma?
Well, most councils are going out of their way ukuthi balungise indawo eziqondileyo, proper places, designated places where vending should occur. But as I know and I understand that the vendors then sort of come back into town because they are trying to get closer to the customers, because most of the sites, I think, are sort of offside to the main city center structure, so much that the vendors might go there and spend the whole day without anyone coming to buy from them. And hence they now move into the CBD to try and get some sales of some sort. So we need, I think like what Mr. Zorwadza is saying, they need for an open dialogue between the vendors, the association, the council itself, including the local government ministry, to try and come up with a sort of a amicable solution, a long-lasting solution, not a tomorrow solution, a solution that will last for years and years, where we we talk with the vendors. Instead of just putting a place for them without consulting them, why not engage them and then find reason and balance each other out there up to a point whereby we all agree to say, okay, if we put you here, this is a bit more effective, and then try and make that place more habitable. There must be toilets there, running water there, so that the people, the vendors can be able to use those facilities properly, wash their hands properly, because while they are vending, they'll be eating. And so they'll end up eating with dirty hands and stuff like that, and that's the cause and the breeding of these diseases. So I think there's need for people to sit down with a view of looking into the future rather than now. Now, it's just a simple matter of saying that let's sacrifice and fight this disease together. If it means we all disengage and go out of the city, let's all do that just for the sake of trying to curb this disease that has come into us. Yes, it has come, it will go, but the way to go is how we are going to respond to it being kept by relevant ministry.
Thank you so much.
That must be the cut point there.
Thank you so much, Chuma. Blessing.
Let's bring Mr. Ndiweni. What is your take on this? What should be done?
I think people should be honest. There's nothing called resolving this in a harmonized way. Okay, let me put it this way. Mm-hmm. There are people are in the streets because there are no jobs. Mm-hmm. You understand what I mean? Yeah. People are selling because Agula savings. We did a study in 2017 and 2018 up to April. Our study showed that abantu by 13% they are driven by entrepreneurship, and the rest is because of subsistence to survive. So the government cannot be talking about doing something to resolve this in harmony, blah 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 blah. Our thinking as Lao vendors is that the government must create jobs for its citizens. Mm-hmm. Because you don't land to take care of its citizens, and then provide support for the 13% that are actually driven by entrepreneurship. You get what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we cannot be hiding with the government must do this and that. The fact of the matter is that about 87% our driven because bafuna usebenza but can't get the job. So the government must actually own up and say, get the job. You understand what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because it is the fact that abantu started so the government has failed. I saw the changes because I must take on the ground after our study science and research from NAS have shown that vendors are 87% or so they are in the streets because of Utabalam 7. So the government must create jobs, and then we will see whether we have vendors. We will say that we have this debate anyway. This debate will end if we have jobs. So the government must allow people to trade. And I hear Honorable Chuma, vendors must go and trade designated sites. Those sites, Gibbs and your colleague, Gala, human and vehicle activity. Some vendors rely on human traffic and vehicle traffic. You understand? Mm-hmm. But thola imali ngokufika kwabantu abadlula besiyagada. You understand what I mean? So now uthatha umvenda umuse ayenda as market. Okungela ngisho lenyoni yomuntu odlula khona uthashayeleni khona ngale. You understand what I mean? Mm-hmm. So now we are creating these so-called designated sites. Local government must make sure that there is human activity and vehicle activity in those areas so that this can help make business. Let's say the truth. The government has failed to provide jobs. Let the people work. But like we said earlier on, we understand the crisis I live in, cholera, and it is my duty. It is MP's duty. It is council's duty. It is a vendor's duty. We cannot point fingers to vendors and say that because of the fact that we will not accept. You understand? We need to collectively take responsibility of what has happened and say, no, we need to fight cholera. But to throw tear gas, to beat vendors, that is unacceptable. It is an affront on their rights to work like every citizen or formally employed. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, siyakuzwa kakhulu Ndiweni sikubamba umlomo. Sesilobaba ke umsundu Ndlovu ecingweni. Baba Ndlovu ngawutshona njani? Ndlovu uyangizwa?
Ngikuzwa kahle Dube.
Yeah, akungene lapho sikhulume ngodaba lwama-vendors. Kambe bayisiwa ngapha ama-vendors khonapho?
Into khona Dubo lana asike isikhathi sokuxotshanisana nalaba abantu abazizamela impilo ukuthi abantu abo bebe lekusasa elihle ngoba vele eZimbabwe kuyabheda. Ya manje mabe baxotshanisa basho ukuthi baye kuphi. Ukuthi ikhorela lela isibe iphushela kulabo abantu ayikho iqiniso ikhorela isezandleni zikaGovernment yena ophushela lento le. Awubheka Dube ungathola ukuthi laba bakhona kula public toilet noma ekhona i-public toilet uzothola ukuthi solo muntu operate i-public toilet lapho ukuthi mase ungena e-toilet le umele ube nemali. I-tap yamanzi ekhona esetshenziswa wonke umuntu la uzothola sifaka isikhiya sokulo munye umuntu othengisa amanzi eceleni. Umuntu lo lamali ungena e-toilet sokumele ukuthi adinge indawo esithekile ayisiza lapho. Ingena lapho ke izinto eziningi ezingaqondakala. So abayeke laba abantu bebe lama-public toilet asezingeni eliphezulu. Umansipala operate ama-public toilet aqashe umuntu ozowaklina ambhadale yona amathuba omsebenzi ofanele awavule lawo. Ayeke laba abantu abazisizayo abaqhandela ingane zabo. I think uyangizwa bhuti omkhulu.
Hayi siyakuzwa kakhulu ungathunela kusasa.
Siyabonga bhuti.
Yeah, so all what Mr. Msunduza is saying is that the government should actually create that atmosphere where people will be free to do whatever they want. So he says even the municipalities, they have got this tendency now of privatizing things, like maybe toilets. You can't have access to a toilet. So what do you do next? You go to the bush and do whatever you want to do there. So he says they should have that kind of an old system where the municipality will run toilets, will run some public water tapes and so forth. That will keep the spread of cholera. So he says it's not the vendors at all. The government is just wasting its time on that.
Now, Mr. Zorwa, the council is always claiming kuti kune dzimwe nzvimbo dzekuti vanhu vanokwanisa kuenda vanotengesera hanzi kuCoca-Cola nekutize nekuMajor Street Court uko kwaiswa zvimbuzi here nemvura pari zvino.
Chokwadi chiripo ndechekuti masites maviri Coca-Cola inonzi Coventry Holding Bay akusati kwane proper ablution facilities to cater for the vending activities. But there is a great effort yatiri kuita isisu National Vendors Union in partnership with NBS. Yekuti tida move with speed to put in infrastructure in terms of ablution facilities ku Coventry Holding Bay and some open space panafort pane car park yatiri kuda kuita move in and put in infrastructure yekuti informal economy workers mavenda vagone kutengesera ipapo but tichiva heja nekuvahenga kuti vari kutadza kusupportwa nemacontracts vanenge vari pamamarkets vari kusupportwa nemamarkets havabenefite kumacontracts. So other organizations nomirirawo ma-informal economy workers, we encourage them to come up with strategies of how we can together decongest my members achibenefita. But the context here, Coventry Holding Bay and Coca-Cola, the toilets are not enough, number one. Number two, there is no market iriko kuti manzvimbo dziviri dzitengesere. We propose to City of Harare that the Coventry Bay, the strategy for people to move ikoko, we should move musika uko hodesera, the other portion of Coventry Bay, so that there is a flow of people and people can benefit from such a public flow in that area. So unless the market is created, it will be pointless to push people to go to sell where there is no market. But there are efforts indeed, both with the City of Harare and other willing partners, to make sure that these are addressed. But people should agree that the most important thing is to have our government partner with the citizens, especially when we come up with ideas and strategies to deal with the problems that affect us.
Gibbs.
There's a message from Musang Konkoni who says, what are the causes really of cholera? I think that has been explored already. And then we've got Victor Nkomo who says, people in the diaspora should actually chip in and contribute some money towards combating cholera. Please, Nyakela for it. And then umsunduza lokho ekhona uthi ngikhona ecingweni khonapha. So ngibuye kuye baba Juma, uzwile lapha umnumzana Ndiweni kazange achayinja efihla umphini. Uthe uhulumende weZanu-PF sewehluleka. Kumele ukuthi kulungiswe sibili izinto eziqondileyo, hatshi kube abantu begijimisana lama vendors. So ke wena nxa singakubuza sithi Juma, lungisa ke udaba lolu sekunika isikhundla khonapho sithi lungisa sibone ungenzani khonapho Juma.
Let's appreciate that this is a new dispensation. It's a new government. The president was sworn in just the other day. But if you look at the trajectory that the whole system is moving with, you will see the oozing of a future that is full of job creation, a future that will be corruption reduced. So I think we are moving towards an era where we are going to have all these problems being sort of addressed. We are moving towards an era where even IMF has started embracing Zimbabwe, Britain is embracing Zimbabwe. So many other countries are coming into play. So which means that the conduit that was missing, that is needed for everything to be answered in a proper manner, and that proper manner is economic activity, and hence job creation, and hence having most of those vendors going into full-time employment in the industry or wherever is actually nigh. So what I would say to Mr. Ndweni is that definitely we are moving towards that direction. But that direction needs collective efforts from everybody. You see, the moment we lose it and make it a Zanu-PF thing or an MDC thing, we'll have lost the plot. This thing is only going to be won. We can only win it if we approach it collectively as Zimbabweans first, and whatever should come secondary or even last day, let's not think about that. Mm-hmm. Let us embrace a good idea, whether it's coming from an MDC chap or from a Zanu-PF chap, but if it's good, let's embrace it and move with it. I was glad when I looked at the reshuffling even of the civil service department by the president when he moved some permanent secretaries and retired some among them. All those things actually show you that it's a person who's moving towards a direction of building or of reinventing the wheel and making sure that everything moves towards the economic prosperity. But now, Ingobe says to all of us, what are you doing? What part are you doing as a Zimbabwean towards the resuscitation of the economy?
Siyabonga kakhulu ke sicela ubambe khona bonga indawo sokutheke silomlaleli mfowethu.
Tinengwe mthereri wedu mkoma Joseph makadi.
Makadi baba.
Aiwa tiripoti pe ufungwa dzenyu.
Ya, inda ndichida kutaura ndichiona zvandinoonawo kuno kuSouth Africa. Akaenda kuDurban uko. Vanhu vanotengesa mavendors ariko. Akawanda kupotsa kupfuura zvatinotoona kuZimbabwe ikoko. Asi hatisatambonzwa ripoti yekuti paita chirwere chekorera kana kuti mavhenda ari kudzingwa nekuti paita korera. Munyika medu hamutorina kana basa asi vanhu vanodzingwa. Watimo muSouth Africa munotombova nekuti unoenda ukanomira panzvimbo uchitsvaka basa ukariwana ukanoita pizjob ukadzokera kumba wane chekunopa vanhu. Saka indaikuona sekuti hurumende yedu iri kuti kundikanei. Pane zvainofanira kuti adrese isati yadzinga mavhenda. Mavhenda haana kwaanokwanisa kuenda. Munhu wese aripo kuraramisa mhuri yake, but ngapave nestrategy chete kana kuti vamonitwe vari panzvimbo dzavari idzodzo dzive dzakachena nguva dzose.
Aiwa tinotenda zvikuru mukoma Joseph. You heard from Joseph. He's in South Africa. He's saying South Africa, especially in Durban, where he visited recently, there are so many vendors, but the councils and the government ensure that wherever they are selling their wares, the place is always clean. This is why there are no outbreaks of cholera in South Africa. Cleanliness helps.
baba Ndiweni sikhulume ngesindebele kathesi ukuthi siyabona khona okukhulunywa nguBlessing lapho ukuthi ubaba lo kade ekhuluma la ukuthi kule ndawo ezihlanzeke kakhulu nxa useDurban khona ngale kwele South Africa. Kodwa ke eZimbabwe sizwa kuthiwa ke kungana kusanjalo even lakhona bemkambo uyathi uhamba nje unyathela ibhanana uwe uqamuke kumbe. So ke okungenza ukuthi kube lokuhlanzeka okuthize phakathi kwenu lingwenu lingakulungisa njani kumbe libe lamabhimu enu into ezinjalo lingakubamba njani?
Ngike ngafika eDurban Gibbs I was doing a study like I said ukuthi asikhuluma into zokucabangela siyakwazi ukukhuluma ngakho. Ngike ngafika eDurban ukuthi ngi-understand ukuthi ama-informal trading eDurban hamba njani under kule kuthiwa i-Warwick Junction those who know Durban kule nhlangano kuthiwa i-Asitafuleni eseDurban that is actually working. Hello?
Yes, silalele baba, silalele sibe.
That is working around making sure that there is coordination and proper administration of informal economy in Durban. So, I know what he's talking about. I've been there to study how they've done it. And truly, in Durban, there is order. It is because the local government has taken it upon itself to actually include these traders in city planning and designing. You understand? So, at Durban, what they call the transport interchange. What they've done is they've modeled their market in such a way that everyone is actually catered for. Anyway, there is order in that city because there is that will to actually engage and dialogue. And just to go to what Tim was saying, if the government is willing to engage citizens, in this case, the informal traders, it take as a town and also baton sticks, trucks. You understand? Meetings for sitting down around the table and planning towards decongesting and improving city design and planning in Harare, as an example. So my view is that what Chuma is saying is ideal, but what is happening right now is that Abandu were supposed to be leading that. They don't know what they're supposed to be doing. You cannot provide order in the city by throwing tear gas and using baton sticks. You cannot do that. Even in a war, you can shoot and exchange fire, but at the end of the day, you sit down and talk. I think you know, kids, Blessing, but at the end, you sit down and talk. So what we are saying is, that you should sit down and engage and say, what is that works best for us?
Are you engaging?
In the short term, just to end now, in the short term, we need to create activities designated, I would say the so-called designated sites. Activity, vehicle and human, so that a vendor can stay in there and get business. But in the long term, there must be jobs for the 87% that are actually there because Abala any other means survive. The school fees, medical health, and insurance. But then also for 13% what driven by entrepreneurship. I will support for them to become tomorrow like Pick and Pay and Choppies. I will government support as a cool business every day. And also above that, let's change our laws. Our laws are also to administer local government. You understand?
Yeah, but the last point, maybe your last point.
Let's change those laws and enable black persons to thrive and succeed. It's very simple as that.
Baba Ndiweni, maybe your last point is: are you engaging the council right now?
Yes, we are engaging. I can tell you what we've been talking to Bulawayo City Council, the previous council, Selepan Sakuluma, even talking to the council technocrats. And other stakeholders, even the government, informal sector working group, where we bring in government departments, Minister of SMEs, then before Minister of Local Government, City Council, to say we need to sit down around the table and say what is best around the 94% of people that are selling the streets because of all jobs. How best can we actually support them to actually survive and function in the resilience they have. So we are talking every day with Bulawayo City Council and seeing the best possible way. And just to end and say that right now, Bulawayo City Council has said they are actually amending bylaws that govern the informal sector. They have called for our input as stakeholders. We are currently starting their proposed amendments to see if we can then change them and enable umuntu othengisayo to actually function and grow and become a business person and survive.
Thank you very much.
So we are engaging, siyakhuluma, ngiyabonga.
Yeah, thank you so much, Baba. Siyakuzwa. Blessing.
Let's go to Mr. Zorwadza as we conclude our show. Mr. Zorwadza, some people are also saying that the vendors, some of them are blocking retail outlets. They are right in front of the door, and people cannot even go into a shop and buy something. And then some vendors, people are saying they are not cleaning up after themselves. Like, the city is struggling to clean up the streets. Why can't the vendors organize themselves to make sure that where they are doing their business, the place is clean?
We already gave City of Harare a program in 2014 that they've applied. We partnered City of Harare and EMA to bring what we call litter monitors to clean the streets. They are doing that, and we gave them 300 people to participate in that program. We are doing it. But the important thing that we should look at the moment now is how do we remove street vendors from the streets to some other areas. The only alternative is for us to get our share of enjoying mainstream contracts dzemuzimbabwe. Pari kugadzirwa road yekubva kuharare kuenda kubeit bridge. Mavenda ngaapiwewo padheski ratakacreata isisu a portion of the contract yekusupply matombo, ma3/4 stones, and we share the profits. Pari kuklinwa mvura yeharare, mavenda padheski redu ratakagadzira restrategy ngavauye tichikwanisa kuwanawo macontract ekuklina mvura toshare maprofits. Pakumiku's hotel chikafu chiri kutengwa ikoko ngatirege kubva kuSouth Africa ngachive chitengwe kuma-farmers, mavenda opiwa contract. We have money NBS that is ready to support contracts in hundreds of millions. And because we are now sufficiently funded, all we want are contracts to share my profits actually. This is the trajectory that we should be thinking in terms of, and this is the trajectory that all other people should support National Vendors Union strategy and see it how it works. And I can assure you, in 100 days, Harare will be decongested if we are supported by all companies, local authorities, and government. And if this fails, this will not fail because all we want is a share of us participating in contracts across the nation in terms of income. PYMA contracts, but muchisika guidance from the strategy that we wrote from National Vendors Union. Muchishare profits. All this will come to a point where all streets in the urban centers will be decongested.
Thank you, Mr. Zorwadza. Thank you. Gibbs?
Yeah, Baba Chuma, your last word, 10 seconds. Your last word there.
My last word is that, like I said in the beginning, confrontation is unnecessary and it's not healthy. But then again, when I was looking at this video again, I realized that police came in peacefully trying to disperse those people. And those people started throwing stones to the police and they ran away. That's when they came back and fired tear gas. So there's a truth in Zora's statement that there's an element of politics at play here. So let us stop that. Let real, true vendors be left alone and not be abused by political systems that are trying to cause mayhem and unrest in the country. I do not think that those people that were throwing stones to the police were actual real vendors. Those are elements, rowdy elements of our society who are bent on...
Thank you very much.
Confusion.
Thank you so much, Baba Chuma.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. We want to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Joseph Chuma, former MP, Pelanda Bampopoma, Mr. Michael Ndiweni of the Bulawayo Vendors and Traders Association, and also Mr. Sten Zorwadza of Navos. Thank you so much to our viewers, our listeners, and those who send messages on Facebook and WhatsApp. Signing off, this is yours truly, Blessing Zulu.
And I'm Gibbs Dube saying have a lovely weekend. Zimbabwe will meet on Monday right here. Bye-bye.